Hello guys, this is Rishabh and you're watching Company 360. Today's topic is a complete reference on non-disclosure agreements. So what is a non-disclosure agreement? Let's start with knowing what we are talking about. Non-disclosure agreements, hereinafter referred to as NDA, are also known as Confidentiality Agreements, Proprietary Information Agreement, or Secrecy Agreements under Indian contract law. NDAs, by conventional practice, have been signed between two parties where either one or both the parties agree not to disclose confidential information that is described and specified in the agreement. The NDAs in India are governed by the Indian Contract Act 1872. Unilateral NDA. A unilateral NDA means only one party is agreeing to protect the other party's confidential information, while a mutual NDA means both parties are agreeing to do so. Bilateral NDA. A bilateral NDA, sometimes referred to as a mutual NDA or a two-way NDA, involves two parties where both parties anticipate disclosing information to one another that each intends to protect from further disclosure. This type of NDA is common when businesses are considering some kind of joint venture or merger. Multilateral NDA. A multilateral NDA involves three or more parties where at least one of the parties anticipates disclosing information to the other parties and requires that the information be protected from further disclosure. This type of NDA eliminates the need for separate unilateral or bilateral NDAs between only two parties. For example, a single multi-party NDA entered into by three parties who each intend to disclose information to the other two parties could be used in place of three separate bilateral NDAs between the first and the second parties, second and third parties, and third and first parties. NDAs are used as an instrument to protect a number of things. Let us know what those are. NDAs protects intellectual property. There may be scenarios in which a party has to disclose their inventions or works which are yet to be registered to another party for the purpose of business or partnership, etc. In this case, an NDA becomes an important instrument for protecting the intellectual property of a party. Similarly, there might be other situations arising which may result in a party disclosing information about an unregistered intellectual property to another party with an NDA, effectively protecting the IP rights of the owner. Proprietorship information. This includes client lists information, supplier contacts, contracts and agreements of the party, research and data, test results, product information, trade secrets, etc. All proprietary information is not confidential per se. The company has the right to decide which proprietary information they want to protect under the NDA. How NDA should be drafted. Taking into consideration that NDAs are important legal instruments, this should be drafted with utmost precaution. The clauses of an NDA agreement. Description of parties. This clause contains the information on both parties as disclosing party and receiving party respectively. Usually, the party providing the information is termed as disclosing party and vice versa. Definition of confidential information. This clause defines the term confidential information for the purpose of the agreement. It properly defines the information that is being shared and also states the mode of sharing. It also provides the details of ownership of the information. It is advised that the definitions provided should be specific rather than broad and generic to avoid conflicts. Also, information available in the public fora are already in the knowledge of the receiving party shall not be considered as confidential information. Exceptions to confidentiality clause. This clause lays down the exceptions when the information agreed to be confidential shall not be considered confidential. These exceptions include information which is or becomes publicly available without breach of this agreement, information which becomes lawfully available to either party from a third party free from any confidentiality restriction, information which is required to be disclosed under any relevant law, regulation, or by the order of a competent court, information which was previously in possession of the receiving party prior to the NDA agreement and which was not acquired directly or indirectly from the disclosing party. Use of information clause or confidentiality obligations on receiving party. This clause demarcates the actions that the receiving party can take in regards to the confidential information. It actually depends on the owner of the information. If the owner feels necessary that the receiving party needs to access every piece of the information shared, he may grant that, or he may limit the criteria for usage of the information. Related rights. These clauses generally follow the obligations and include clauses like non-competence clause, assignment of intellectual property rights clause, etc. It can also include restraining provisions like no solicitation clause or the no warranties clause. It also includes the return clause, which provides the obligations that the receiving party has to return the information provided while maintaining its confidentiality. Termination of NDA. Duration of NDA. The duration of the NDA may vary from the actual duration of the contract. Hence, a properly defined term or period should be provided for the NDA to be effective. Jurisdiction. It provides the jurisdiction of the court of that should be approached in case of a breach of NDA. Remedies. It provides that in case of a breach of the agreement, that aggrieved party has a right to legal remedy and may proceed in a certain prescribed manner. It can also prescribe for the matter to be put for arbitration before approaching a competent court. Want to get your own NDA? Company360.in provides you with all the necessities required for this procedure for a very reasonable price. Thanks everyone. If you still have some questions, you can contact us by the information presented in your screen. Our team would love to help you. That was it for today. Bye-bye.